101.7 KSAM and the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. It's time for the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Huntsville coach Rodney Southern. Live from True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Tonight, Coach Southern talks about last week's game and what to expect from this week's opponent. Now, let's go live to the coach and your host, Rob Hipp.
Well, a pleasant good afternoon, Huntsville, Texas. How's everybody doing today? All right. Boy, we got a nice little crowd here on our inaugural opening of the all-new Hornet Nation Coaches Show. Everything's Hornet Nation, baby, right here in Huntsville. It's a great place to be, and first and foremost, we want to thank our good friends here at True Texas Barbecue. Let's give them a round of applause for having us out here. Thank you, guys. And I've got Brian Adams. I'm Rob Hipp, your show host. Now, tonight, a Monday show, and then starting next week, it's going to be every Wednesday. So we wanted to give an opportunity. Of course, the booster meetings happen on Monday, and we wanted to make sure that everybody can come out here and be a part of this show. But, Brian, we're talking about a Huntsville Hornet team finally got to play a game. We'll hear from, of course, Coach Southern here in just a little bit. Defeated Willis on the road 48-17. The Hornets had the lead 41-6 at the half, held the Wildcats to just 57 total yards, including negative 40. How about that to start things on rushing? Senior tackle Edward Bobino had 4 first-half sacks. A defensive back, Ethan Miner, who we're going to hear from tonight, playing in his very first varsity game, snagged 3 interceptions, returned a fumble for a touchdown. Of course, junior quarterback A.J. Wilson, almost 200 yards through the air, including 2 passing touchdowns, had a rushing one also in the first half. Brian, we were there. We called the game. Just a great night for Hornet football, finally getting that first game on the road at Willis, my friend.
What a great first game. I mean, the Hornets came out, and they played like they played several games, you know, Rob, and that's something we talked about towards the end of the game Friday night. They came out with aggression. They came out with a purpose. They came and they were playing a 6A school and did what they had to do. It was a great victory.
Well, we had fun. We were right in the middle of our fans, and how many know that if you're right in the middle of your fans, it just brings that much energy, and it was a beautiful night for football. And, you know, Brian, one of the biggest takeaways for me, of course, the victory, but these young men finally getting to play. You can only imagine, you know, what was going through their mind. You played football back in the day, of course, a former Sam Houston State quarterback. In those situations, you know, where you don't get to play a game and then you finally get there, you know, what would be going through your mind, man?
Well, you know what? It's funny you asked that because right before the show started, I was talking to Coach Southern off camera and how he kept the guys pumped up because it was kind of they started summer workouts and they had to stop summer workouts for a little bit. And how do you maintain that level of enthusiasm and the things that go in, you know, to it? And what he said was dead on. I mean, these guys know the program. They know what they need to do. And, you know, it was obvious. I mean, the way they came out against Willis Friday night, I mean, we're going to have 2 young men on here in a minute that just were outstanding. And it was a total team effort and big victory.
Well, look, if you're listening back at home on the radio, you still got plenty of time to get down here to True Texas Barbecue, grab a bite to eat, and continue to support our local Huntsville community. The way this show is going to work, just to set it up so you know, as the weeks go on, we'll, of course, have an introductory segment. You and I, whenever you're here, we'll chat a little bit. We'll bring Coach Southern up after that, and then we'll talk to our players of the game. We'll also hear from the Booster Club. It's going to be a really nice show as far as information goes to keep you engaged with the Hornet community. For now, though, we're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Rodney Southern. This is the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network on the all-new Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll be back in just a few moments.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
All All right, friends, we're back here live from True Texas Barbecue in beautiful Huntsville, Texas. Coach Rodney Southern joining us. Let's give it up for Coach Southern. See, the way I do these shows, there's a lot of clapping going on, so y'all just get ready, guys. A lot of clapping. We're going to have fun as we go on through this. But, Coach Southern, thanks for being here with us tonight. Appreciate you.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Well, Coach Southern, finally getting to play a game versus an opponent after Nederland canceled, of course, a couple of weeks ago due to COVID. Tell us a little bit. We talked to you, of course, in pregame and the coaches show, but those of you that are just joining us here for this coaches show, kind of the mindset of these young men as they were heading into that game after having to play, of course, a scrimmage and then a practice and then that cancellation with Nederland.
Well, I think it's difficult when you're prepared for an opponent and you're on day 3 or day 4 of that preparation, and then all of a sudden you get word that they can't play. So there's a natural letdown. But I think we did the best thing we could do at that point, which was have some time where we went to the stadium and tried to simulate as much of a live game as we possibly could. And then, of course, they knew, the next week. And I've told them, you got to be prepared for these unexpected things probably for this entire football season, because obviously there could be other things happen to us or to an opponent that we may play. But obviously Friday night, I thought they handled the transition from week 1 to week 2, even though we didn't play a game, to be able to watch it on film and probably as clean of a game as we played. There were some penalties, especially in the second half, but to play as clean as we did on both sides of the ball, we didn't turn the football over. I mean, it's hard to argue with how well they played.
Well, Coach, the Hornets, and I'll let Brian ask you the second question here. We were going over that second one there, Brian.
Hey, Coach, the Hornets led 41-6 at half. What contributed to the energy to the start?
Well, I think the fact that we didn't play a lot, when you miss all of spring training, it was December the 11th of 2019 since some of these guys had played a football game. I think that and the fact that this group is unique. Every group is a little bit unique, but you always hear that story of, okay, well, you lost 34 seniors, you lost Jordan Brown, you lost so and so and so and so. Well, kids get tired of hearing that sometimes too. You're going to lose guys every year, but I think what happened when we walked in there, I told a couple of our coaches, I said, this is fixing to be really, really good. And these guys understand, number one, they understand the standard. They understand the expectation level. And the thing that I really like is how well they listen and handle coaching. Because most of these guys obviously have been with us since they were 7th graders, so they don't know any other way other than the way we're doing it now. And obviously Willis is considered a rivalry game now, even though they've moved to 6A. And we've played really well at their place the last 2 times. We've handled them pretty well there. So I think that combination and understanding, and we told them at halftime, don't lose your focus because everybody's going to get an opportunity to play, and you want that if you can. But at the same time, you don't want to have, like we had some penalties in the 4th quarter that they ended up getting a touchdown on 2 first downs. But other than that, I mean, I thought the first half was about as good as you could play and as clean as you could play, considering it was our first live, real action.
Coach, you've already alluded to that second half where you were outscored in that second half. We've talked about a lot of the positives. You told the kids at half, maybe don't lose focus. What were some other things that you told them in that second half, heading into the second half?
Well, don't get caught up in when we start transitioning guys in and out. We don't have a ton of depth. We're dressing 42 varsity football players right now, and 2 of those are kickers. So you take that away, you got 40 guys, so you've got to be able to transition. We do have some guys that do work on both sides of the ball, and we wanted to get them some action, but that late in the game, the biggest thing I wanted to see was keep them out of the end zone. And, we had them twice and end up getting – and one of them's a hustling face mask, one of them's a hustling 15-yarder on roughing the passer, which, I don't know if it was that or not, but obviously it was called. So the big thing is just keep your focus and keep your poise, because we never know when there's going to be a guy that's got to go in the game and make a big play, because the game could be close. So But I thought overall, minus that fourth quarter where we gave up a couple, it's hard to argue with that for the first game.
Coach, offense, defense, special teams, all working together. How's the team's chemistry this year?
Well, I think that the unique thing about this group is they're fairly quiet. And like I've told parents before, they may be really loud at home or really loud in their cars, but I think quiet sometimes can be deceiving. A lot of people think you got to, rah-rah and jump up and down and act all crazy in football. And the thing I've always learned about that, once you get punched in the mouth in a game, you better have an answer. But I think they handle coaching so well that it allows us, like today, to be able to grind on film and be able to grind in practice. So the game really ought to come easy or easier. And I know some of them were nervous, maybe not as nervous as they are about talking tonight, but some of them were nervous because it's their first varsity start. But at the same time, when you score defensively, when you run a kickoff back, when your phases of the game are able to transition off of each other. I don't know exactly the number of yards, but, sometimes yardage can be deceiving. So a lot of factors that go into the transition of those three things, but I think everybody understands their role. And obviously the more we do this, the better they should get at whatever that role is. And these guys are kind of the epitome of quiet but dangerous, might be a good way to say it. So, but overall, I thought all three phases, especially the first half, is that's as clean a first game as I've been a part of in a long time.
Well, Coach, final question here in this first segment. You always have a talk with the team after the game. What'd you tell them after this one?
Well, the big thing is enjoy, because for us, and this is something that I've had to learn to do, and I learned to do it last year, with a group of seniors, and I'm going to force myself to do it this year. A lot of times when you win football game, it's hard to win a football game. It's hard, the amount of preparation that goes into, watching film and lifting weights and doing all the stuff. And then when we win a game, even if we're at home, we have to get on a bus and go back to the field house. I tell them to enjoy until Saturday morning, because we're going to watch the good and the bad on Saturday, and we're going to lift weights and run, and some of that's not enjoyable, but it's necessary. But the big thing is I want them to understand how important it is to enjoy these, because especially in the world today, we've already missed one for COVID. Who knows how many games you're going to get to play. So enjoy the win, enjoy the success, and surprisingly, enjoy the bus ride home. Because, I talk to kids now that are 10 years removed, and that's the one thing they tell me that they miss more than anything is bus rides home after you win a football game.
Well, Coach, we're going to take a break here as we're continuing to talk to head coach Rodney Southern of the Huntsville Hornets. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to this game coming up Thursday at Kingwood. Stay with us, friends. The Hornet Nation Coaches Show, presented by True Texas Barbecue, continues here in just a few moments.
We made it. We made it to Labor Day, and here at Wiesner in Huntsville, we're going to celebrate Labor Day all month long with huge savings on the great selection of Chevys. We have the new Tahoe and Suburban in stock. If you're looking for a truck, we have plenty of half-tons, three-quarter tons, and one-tons. We also have huge savings on a complete lineup of midsize SUVs like the Trax, Equinox, Traverse. But you have to hurry to Wiesner in Huntsville to see just how big these Labor Day savings truly are, or visit us online at WiesnerHuntsville.com. Chevy, find new roads.
Get on out to the Big Easy Crawfish and Oyster Bar for Taco Tuesday. With fish or shrimp, fried or grilled. Thursday night is steak night. Charcoal grilled, hand-cut, choice Angus ribeye. All-you-can-eat catfish and fries every day for $10.99. The Big Easy sells fresh homemade boudin, packaged and ready for pickup. Great for grilling out at home, the deer lease, tailgating and campouts. Dine-in or to-go orders at the Big Easy. Full menu and bar at the Big Easy. Big screen TVs and family-friendly atmosphere, too. And live music every Saturday night. The Big Easy Crawfish and Oyster Bar on Sam Houston Avenue. Open at 11 Tuesday through Sunday. Closed Mondays.
All right, friends, welcome back as we continue our discussion here with Huntsville head football coach and athletic director, Coach Rodney Southern. Coach, we heard about last week. Again, the Hornets victorious 48-17 on the road at Willis. Now a Thursday night game. That's going to be a 7 p.m. kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have the live coverage starting at 6:30 p.m. Kingwood 0-2 after a 21-7 loss versus Cypress Woods last week. Of course, then falling to Conroe 42-7. Coach, the mindset heading into this one. You got a team that's 0-2, but they're hungry for a win.
Yeah, and they've got a new coaching staff, so everything that they're doing right now is new for them. They've had a few issues in terms of probably their introduction to what they're trying to do, and we all understand that. But at the same time, we've got to go prepare like we would normally prepare for a game, and you got to do it on a short week, which kind of puts a little bit of a cramp in your structure because you got to combine basically 3 practice days into 2 practice days. But we had a good one today, and we'll have a good one tomorrow, and then we'll be ready to go. So Kingwood's a unique group, again, because it's a big 6A. They've got lots of numbers, and that always concerns you because you don't know, what numbers in terms of O-line, D-line especially. But, we've done a good job. The kids did a good job today of looking at, here's what they're going to do. And our staff does a good job of breaking down and simplifying, here's what we got to stop. Here's how they're going to line up. Now let's go execute. And even week 2, week 3, you're still more focused on you than you are the opponent. Yeah, you got to know what they're doing, but, it's just like they're probably not going to kick the ball deep to us Friday night. Things that we know we did well game 1. Obviously, we may not have the opportunity to do those things, but again, it's a big 6A, and you got to go in there ready to go, especially another game on the road.
Coach, what's the Hornets going to have to do to establish themselves early in that ball game next against Kingwood coming up?
Well, I think the biggest thing defensively, we did a good job the other night playing our base front and getting pressure with 4 guys. We also basically handled the run game with the down line and obviously our backers that got involved. So if we can do that defensively and keep them on their heels. They've struggled a little bit scoring. They've scored a touchdown in each of their 2 games, but I think they got some guys back that will be back against us Thursday night. And offensively, we've got to protect the football. Normally your first game last week, you would expect a turnover possibly or just a mishandled snap, for us not to have turnovers, because obviously a turnover can always turn into points. And when we're going in right now, we were +5 the other night in the turnovers, and you're going to win a lot of games when you're +5. So, and special teams, they're not going to kick the ball deep to us, I wouldn't think. We had some miscues on our punt team that if I were them, I would make us prove that we've got that fixed. But overall, I think the biggest thing for us is to start fast like we did the other night. We win the toss, we're going to take the football normally because we feel like at halftime, if we're doing what we're capable of defensively, we can hopefully sustain your first drive of the second half. But again, play the way we played defensively and force a long field for them. And when we have opportunities offensively, whether it's throwing it or running it, because I think we did both of them pretty well the other night. But, AJ's got to take another step. We got to hit some open guys. And if we do that and we're a little more sound in the kicking game, I think we'll be okay.
Coach, you alluded a little bit to their side of the ball as far as talking about Kingwood. Any positions that you've become aware of so far that we should keep an eye out on their team?
Well, their quarterback, they started number 10 initially. Number 12 started the other night. I'm not sure what happened. Their O-line's got a couple new guys in it that played against Conroe that didn't play the first week. So not sure what happens there. But number 2 and number 4 are 2 guys that obviously concern us. 2 plays a lot of different places. He's their kick returner. He's a guy that's got speed that can, I think, stretch the field. But the key thing for us, again, is even though it's week 2 for us, week 3 for them, we got to focus more on what are we going to do to get better for us, because obviously we've probably not seen everything that they're going to do, just like hopefully they haven't seen everything that we're going to do. So you still got to focus on your own guys, but at the same time I think they have they have struggled a little bit, and I think more of it's turnovers probably more than anything because of the position that they end up with the ball on the field. And then they've given up defensively, especially against Conroe. They gave up 3 big explosive plays, 50, 60-yarders. So obviously we would love to hit some plays like that. But they're a solid football team that you can tell is transitioning from one style to another style with a new coaching staff.
Well, you just mentioned, talking about hopefully they haven't seen anything yet. People are starting to get creative now, by the way, because we tend to lock down the videos usually on Monday of the game so people can't access them. Now I'm getting emails saying I'm an official and I would like to see a copy of that game so I can get better. I've had 2 of those emails, Coach. So we're going to, we'll do our part to make sure that we don't let out too much of that information. But, Coach, Brian's got another question for you.
Well, you kind of touched on it a little bit just a minute ago, Coach, but tell us what the keys to victory this coming Thursday night are going to be.
Well, I think number one for us offensively is to sustain drives, or, a lot of coaches will say that and you want to sustain a drive, but if we throw a 40-yard touchdown to Jordan Woodbury, I'm okay with that too. But protect the football. AJ did a good job the other night. Our running backs did a good job the other night of protecting the ball. Score when we have the opportunities, and then take what they give us. Because, just like any game, they're going to line up a specific way defensively, so they're going to give us something. And we've got to be able to take advantage of it. And defensively, the way we have prepared the last 3 or 4 years, our front 4 guys are going to create problems. Now what we've got to do is not allow the big play on the perimeter, because if we can shut the run down inside, it forces a team like this to run wide. And I think from a speed standpoint, we're fast enough that we can shut that down. And if I were them, you're already 0-2, and you've got some guys that you're going to play behind us. Their districts, Galena Park, North Shore, Beaumont, Westbrook. They've got some people coming that C.E. King that are really good football teams. So I would pull out all the stops in the kicking game, onside kicks, fake punts, whatever it might be. But for us in the kicking game, we've got one that hopefully we corrected today. And in our other kicking games, I thought our kickoff the other night was really good, and obviously our kickoff return was better than average in the circumstances of the game. So, I would always love to say they're only going to get to kick off once, but I hope that's what the case is. But if we do those 3 things, then obviously we got a good chance to win the game.
Coach, final question from me, just, of course, without giving away any names. We saw a couple of players there, got knocked down a little bit, hobbling up. Just the overall health through that first game so far of the team.
Well, I think playing your first real game, coming off of a scrimmage and then a week of practice and a prep week that you prepared for something that you didn't get to do. A lot of it's just bumps and bruises. Also, we can do all we can do as a coaching staff in terms of practice, but until you get in a live game and that adrenaline level goes way up, you're going to have some cramps. You're going to have some things where people or guys may feel like they were hurt when really it's cramps and things like that. So, we're your typical bumps and bruises from a game, but we've got nobody right now that I don't see playing Thursday night.
Well, I was lifting equipment up those steps. No elevator there at Willis, and I've got a few, bumps and bruises, maybe some stretches that I should have worked on before I climbed up those steps. But we appreciate the hospitality of Willis and Coach Wall, but, we're Hornet fans and excited about this upcoming game. Brian, any final questions before we end this segment?
One of the things that I noticed, Coach, with these Hornet teams that you've had these last couple of years, and especially Friday night against Willis, back when I was playing in the mid-'80s, it was an attitude that we were going to win no matter who we played, what the circumstances were, or anything like that. I see that in this team. Talk about that, if you could, a little bit.
Well, I think this group, and when I said it earlier, and I've told some parents and I've told some people that have asked me, historically, when you're in a program 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the program will sometimes take on the personality of the head coach, which is not a good thing sometimes and not a bad thing sometimes. I have very high expectations of myself. I have extremely high expectations of all of these kids. And I think our program has gotten to a point now where they understand you know, you got to be bold to say we want to be the standard. Well, we do. We want to be the standard of what people look at and say. And I had somebody tell me Friday night that we had a very disciplined football team. And to me, that speaks volumes when an adult that has nothing to do with our program sees and says that to me as the head coach. That tells me, number one, our kids understand, but they also understand when you do those things, you're going to win games. Whether it's discipline, whether it's execution, whether it's you believe in what we're doing, and hopefully it's all three of those things, because our kids understand, and they're held to a higher standard. And the good thing with this group, because they are quiet, sometimes you wonder, okay, are they really getting it? But then you go out Friday night to play a first half like that, and then it's hard to say, okay, keep your intensity the second half when you're up 35 points. You know, and they're not moving the ball on you. But at the same time, you know, discipline and structure and organization and culture will win you a lot of football games. And I think we have all those things. I think these kids have all those things. You know, we ask them to do a lot that goes well above and beyond what your normal student will do. And they've answered the bell on every one of those things. So when you do that, you're going to win games, and you're going to win the game that comes down to the wire, and we'll have one at some point this year that will come down to the wire where we got to kick a field goal to win, or we got to go into overtime to win. Well, discipline wins that a lot of times. It's not necessarily execution, because you don't even know what the situation's going to be. But I don't know that they're going to back down from anything. Now, you know, we may run into somebody that might just be better than us, but we're going to give you a fight every Friday night. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate you for being here on this first and second segment. We're going to step aside, take a break. We're going to interview some players. Stay with us. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show right here live from True Texas Barbecue. Let's give it up one more time. Coach Southern, thank you for being here tonight. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside H-E-B. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly.
Montgomery Meadows for seniors 55 plus in Huntsville is a quiet community with others your age. Located right in the center of town, close to medical care, restaurants, and shopping, with lawn care and maintenance. Tenants can meet in the clubhouse for group activities. They have a community vegetable garden and plenty of room to walk your dog on property. Section 8 vouchers are accepted, and right now get 1 month free. See location for details. Montgomery Meadows, an equal opportunity provider located at 2760 Montgomery Road in Huntsville, or call 439-9771. Montgomery Meadows, the place you can call home.
All right, friends, welcome back to the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, we are live here from True Texas Barbecue. You know, this barbecue was voted one of the top barbecue chains from Texas Monthly. How about that, man?
Amazing.
So we appreciate right here inside of HEB. And by the way, we've got a lot of folks that are joining us on the YouTube stream tonight. Wanted to say hello to you that are watching on video. And for those of you, of course, on 101.7 FM KSAM, thank you for joining in as well. But we are now joined by the Offensive Player of the Week, Mr. Senior Wide Receiver Jordan Woodbury. What's going on, Jordan? Jordan, good to have you here tonight, man. Well, as we dig in, you know, we're going to talk for probably about an hour. I'm just kidding, Jordan. I do want to let you know, though, there's 2 million people watching on YouTube right now. It just went up whenever they heard your name. I just looked at it. I'm giving you a hard time, man. Talk about your role on the team, Jordan.
I play an important role. I know that. But, like, it's really a team thing to me. You know, everybody plays an important role. We don't really count nobody out on the team. Everybody has to do their part for us to win, you know. We don't just say one player does the whole. No, you know, we all play an important role, and we'll just win every time if you just do your role, play your part.
And how good did it feel? You know, you play a scrimmage and then practice, and we all know about, you know, Allen Iverson back in the day. So practice, you want to talk about practice. Y'all didn't get to play in front of a team, but you did get to play in front of the home crowd. What was that scrimmage and that practice like, just getting you prepared for that opening game at Willis?
We take practice seriously. You know, we don't ever take it easy on practice. You know, we go hard on each other. We push each other hard. We all play hard. That scrimmage, it's kind of close to the game. It's kind of close to the game. If you ask me, it was almost the same. You know, we're a good team playing against each other. We're an even better team.
Awesome. Brian?
Well, you know what they say, Jordan, you're going to play like you practice. And if you're practicing as if it is in preparation for the game, which it is, then you're going to do well. Yeah. Tell me about with last year, you lost 30 seniors off your team, and that is a lot of kids. Tell me the differences and what you're seeing and experiencing with the replacement of those 30 kids.
We all hungry, man. We all want to get on the field. Everybody wants to get on the field. We all fighting for a spot right now. So everybody wants to do as good as they can in the game. You know, ain't nobody trying to sit on the bench all game, you know. So we all fighting for a spot. We trying our hardest to get on the field.
Well, we're talking to Jordan Woodbury, senior wide receiver here with the Huntsville Hornets. Jordan, of course, the victory on the road. We've talked about that. But, man, what we've all been waiting for, it may be a school record. The historian's going to have to look this up. We don't know. It may be. Was that a school record 103-yard return? Let's give it up for that, man.
Thank you.
103 yards on the return. That extended the lead 13-6 early on in that game. You know, you're running through people. What's going through your mind? Did you feel that you were going to break away? What was going through your mind? Walk us through that play, man.
I was thinking just run. I seen a hole. I noticed some blocking. I had to read like where they was blocking to, you know. Most people was just hitting the holes. I only had to break 2 tackles. Everybody else just blocking, just opening up a hole.
How important if we're talking a lot about your performance, but your teammates as well. They're helping you out on special teams. A great special teams performance. Talk about those guys and just how they've been so far in this first game.
The way they've been blocking and the way they've been acting, it gives me a lot of confidence on the next few games we about to play. You know, I don't have no doubt that they're going to do good in the special teams game. Awesome. They've been doing good.
Brian?
Jordan is a senior wideout and kick returner. Where do you see yourself? Where can you improve? After your first game against Willis and how well y'all played, and y'all played very well, what can you do to improve from that?
Probably stamina, if anything. Stamina, getting back on the field after running off a kickoff return. You know, I got to be back on kickoff. You know, I got to work on my stamina probably. Everybody got a room to improve, though.
And that kind of leads into the next question. As a team, where do you guys feel that you can improve on? You know, a few penalties there in that second half. Talk about that and just where do you feel that the team can improve on without putting your teammates anywhere, you know?
I mean, we all have certain specific spots we can improve on, and once we get those improved, we're going to be a very good team. But one thing we got to improve on is just mental toughness. No complaining, none of that, you know. Never back down for a fight, none of that. We just straight hustle.
That's good stuff, man.
Looking forward to your game against Kingwood on Thursday. Jordan, what can you do to improve? You personally, what can you do?
Probably my routes. I can work on routes, how to stack their feet or something like that. But mostly I've been working, just stamina really.
Stamina, route running.
Yeah, the same thing. Same thing with kickoff and all that stuff.
And we're talking about this Kingwood game on the road. Going to be another game on Thursday, so a short practice week. But you're still excited. I know you want to get out there. What are you most excited about coming up in this game? What are you looking forward to the most?
Competition. I love competition. I love to see somebody try to stop me. I feel it disrespectful for them to try to just man up on me. I love the competition.
Man, we'll give a round of applause on that. You ain't getting – Woodbury's saying, look, man, you're not getting in front of me. I like that. So talk about, man, there's a lot of folks that in our years have influences on our lives, and whether it's a friend or a parent. I wanted to ask you, who's some role models, maybe one, maybe two. Who have you looked up to the most in your life, young man?
I used to look up to Jalen Griffin and Tyree Carter. I used to look up to them. I used to be their backup, whatever. Just hoping I get in the game, I'll do exactly what they do, watching them every play, see what they do wrong, see what they do right. I used to look up to them.
What was it most that made you look up to him? Just how he played the game?
How he played and how he came at it. As I said, they're competitive. Everybody competitive. Everybody's trying to get their spot, stuff like that. They're very competitive. I look up to that.
Awesome.
Jordan, what from an ex-Hornet to a current Hornet, what does that mean to you? being a Hornet?
Man, it's important. I know a lot of people up here, and a lot of people know me. I feel respected up here. I feel needed. It makes me confident. People are depending on me. I like the competition. I like that.
Nothing like it, is it?
Nothing like it.
I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't feel the same at any other school, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, we're continuing. Just a few more questions here, Jordan. Wanted to ask you, hobbies. What do you like to do, man? What are some of your hobbies?
I don't do much other than football, to be honest. I be working on a lot of drills, stuff like that. If anything, the closest I'll do to is probably construction, anything construction-wise. That'll be anything other than football. I focus on a lot of football, a lot.
Awesome.
Watch film and stuff.
What kind of future plans? What kind of future plans do we have?
Mostly going to college. My brother went to college. I want to follow his footsteps. I know he's doing good in college. He's gonna get somewhere. You know, I want to follow my brother's footsteps. He's in college.
Well, that's terrific.
That's great, man. Well, finally, I told you a while ago when you sat down 2 million people. It's at 2.2 million now. They're right there on the camera. Look at that camera. Who do you want to give a shout-out to tonight real quick before we let you go?
My teammates. I give a big shout-out to my teammates. They give me confidence, especially the O-line. Knowing how hard they work every game, every week, I give a big shout-out to them.
Awesome. Well, let's give it up one more time. Our Offensive Player of the Week, Mr. Jordan Woodbury. Good job, young man. Good to have you up here tonight. You did good, man. Well, we'll step aside. We'll take a break. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll hear from another player. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere, friends. We're right here live from True Texas Barbecue. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly.
Hey, this is Tracy Chappell, City of Huntsville's Main Street Manager. I want to encourage you to invest in our community, Huntsville First. Whether you visit an antique shop downtown or stop by your favorite food truck, every purchase you make here in Huntsville boosts our economy. Become a tourist in your own backyard. Get out and enjoy the great outdoors at Huntsville State Park or the Sam Houston National Forest. Visit one of our historic museums and enjoy the art and culture available right here in Huntsville. Remember, shop, eat, play. Huntsville First.
All right, friends, welcome back. We're having fun tonight. Y'all having fun tonight? True Texas Barbecue. Oh, Mama, it smells good in here. My mom will get mad. Mom, I love you, but it really smells good cooking in here. So you still got some time. Come on down here to True Texas Barbecue. The show tonight, of course, here on a Monday, but it will start next week on Wednesday at 6:30. Plenty of seats, plenty of good food. So come on down here and support your hometown Huntsville Hornets. I'm Rob Hipp alongside Brian Adams. It's our privilege to bring you this show here every week, and we are now joined by the Defensive Player of the Week, the senior cornerback, Mr. Ethan Miner. Let's give it up for Ethan. Ethan, man, just a tremendous game. We're going to dig in and talk about that, and, you know, you just had a tremendous night, young man. Before we really start digging into that, I always like to ask that first question. You know, you're a senior this year. Talk about your role on the team and what that's been like here through that first varsity game.
Yeah, it's my first varsity game, and I knew I was going to have a pretty big role on the team. I just try to fit in, do my job, and all the other 10 players do theirs. We're going to be pretty good defense, pretty good football team.
Well, you know, you're sitting here right now, and Brian, he had a little bit of a story he shared with you. Brian, share it with us before you ask that question, man.
Well, you know what, Ethan, your father and I grew up together playing for the Hornets. We were in the same class. We competed in the same athletics, and just as good a guy as it gets. And I know he's super proud of the game that you had Friday night. 3 interceptions. Fantastic. Tell me about those interceptions.
My D-line, my big boys up front, they got pressure, and I was just able to make a play on the ball.
And it was right there, man. I mean, they were coming, but these weren't easy interceptions. You know, you had to reach out and snag for them. You know, what were you keeping your eye on throughout that game? And, you know, and too, let me add on to that to kind of help with the question a little bit, too, because I left it real open-ended, man. Your first varsity game also. But first varsity game, 3 interceptions, man. I mean, that's incredible. So to add on to that question and to kind of guide you through it, you know, what was that like and what was going through your mind when those were coming your way and your first varsity game?
I mean, we coaches gave us a good game plan. We knew what they was going to do. We just came out, tried to stop it, and I knew most of the routes they were going to run, and I was able just to make a play on the ball.
Going forward, Ethan, what do you think you could do to improve from the game in Willis? I mean, that's hard to improve when you have 3 interceptions, but what can you do to make yourself better against Kingwood?
Watch some more film, know what they do.
Tendencies?
Yeah, tendencies, what they run, the different sets they run, stuff like that. And catching the ball, could have had a couple more picks. Catching the ball.
See, I was just thinking
3's not enough.
Yeah, I was just thinking when we asked you that question, you're like, what could you do better? And I bet in your mind, gears are turning. You're like, 5 interceptions, 6 interceptions, man. Well, Ethan, we're talking to Ethan Miner, the senior quarterback here for Huntsville. You've talked a little bit about just kind of what you can improve on from a team standpoint on the defensive side. Where do you think – I know we're only 1 game in, but there's always room for improvement. Where do you feel like after that first game that on the defensive side your team can improve?
We gave up a couple penalties. We got on the 3rd down. We gave up a big penalty, and the drive just kept going. That's how they scored on both their touchdown drives. So I think penalties, if we cut out the penalties, they might not even score that game.
Facing Kingwood on Thursday. Excited after the big win. What are you looking forward to coming up on Thursday night, man?
Looking forward to get out there playing with my teammates, being able to go play another game and go get the win.
Ethan, who are some of your role models, and who are you looking up to?
Look up to my parents, and I play football, so I look up to Jalen Ramsey's, the Patrick Petersons, the good corners of the NFL, learn their techniques and stuff like that, and just try to model my game after it.
What's Coach Southern's favorite thing to eat? I'm just kidding. We're talking here to Ethan. We're going to do that, though, one show. We're going to have to get some questions from Coach, and we may do a little bit of trivia, once the season goes on. We'll have a lot of fun. But, something really important. I always ask everybody we interview, Ethan, this community, very special. The team, the Huntsville Hornets, a lot of history behind the team. What does it mean to you, young man, to carry that name, to be a Huntsville Hornet?
I've been growing up. I grew up here all my whole life, so I know the history of the team and stuff like that. I've been watching them all my life, and to be able to play for this team is big. Knowing I've had siblings and parents, cousins, uncles, and stuff like that play for the team, it's big for me to be able to keep that going.
That's terrific. Ethan, what kind of future plans are you thinking about?
Going to college for sure, trying to play at the next level. I don't know what college yet. I don't have no preference, and I just want to play at the next level.
Any ideas as far as maybe hobbies, some hobbies that you have may lead to something? What are some things you like to do outside of football?
I like to play football, basketball. I play video games, stuff like that.
Awesome, man. Well, finally, camera's right there on you. It's shot back up. You just outdid your teammate. 3.4 million people watching here tonight.
Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jordan. Ethan was on here, so final shout-out. Camera's right there on you, young man. Who would you like to say hello? Maybe a little love here tonight from Huntsville, Texas.
I want to shout out my brother, my mom, and my dad.
Awesome. Let's give it up one more time. Another great young man here, Ethan Miner, everybody. We're going to step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear more about what's going on here in Huntsville with the football program. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, and we are live from True Texas Barbecue. We'll be right back here in just a few moments.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly.
COVID-19 testing is back at TexPress Urgent Care in Huntsville. COVID-19 testing options include the PCR nasal swab test and the COVID antibody test. No symptoms are needed. Testing is available while supplies last. Not sure which test is right for you? TexPress Urgent Care is happy to help. For more details, call 936-570-2626. No appointments, walk-ins only. TexPress Urgent Care Clinic, located at 193 I-45 South. Check their website at TexPressUrgentCare.com and visit them on Facebook. That's TexPress Urgent Care, next to Sports Clips in Huntsville.
All right, welcome back. We are live here in Huntsville, Texas. Thanks for joining us. And, yeah, big shout-out tonight to all the folks that showed up. And, as we continue this show, we're just going to gain traction and looking forward You know, Brian, one of the biggest reasons we started this was to help get these kids some exposure this year, of course, with video, but just what a great opportunity to speak to those two young men just a few moments ago, man, and hear what they're up to.
Oh, what an amazing opportunity. You know what? These young men had such a great game the other night. They're great students, and have them here on video, on radio, and getting to talk to them, getting to know them a little bit, kind of see what's going on with them, man, is fantastic.
Well, now we get to talk to Miss Brandy McLaren of the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club,
Yes,
president
sir.
of the club.
Yes.
And welcome. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So our last segment, let's give Brandy a shout. All right. Brandy, 4.82 million people on the show tonight.
No, I doubt that.
Well, Brandy, first and foremost, I wanted to thank you just for me personally. You know, I came into this community just a few months ago, moved here, was here last year, but now officially living here. And you and the Quarterback Club have made me feel right at home. And I just wanted to say thank you for what you do, you know, and welcoming me. And I know that extends to everybody else that comes in your path and also the Quarterback Club. So thank you for that.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you coming and getting so involved so quickly, you know, because we can't do what we do without the support of the community. And we are not just open to the parents of the football players. We are open to the community. We welcome anybody who wants to volunteer and come join our club to come join. We meet on Monday nights at 6 o'clock in the field house. Of course, we cut our meeting very short tonight so that we could all be here this evening. I think it's a record for the amount of minutes we were in the meeting tonight. But, you know, we host our concession stand on Tuesday and Thursday nights for the Mance Park middle school games, as well as our underclassmen on Thursday nights. We always need volunteers for that. And as we said tonight in the meeting, we are only as good as our volunteers. And without our volunteers, we're nothing. And you can't do it, as Brian well knows from clubs of past, you can't do it with 4 or 5 people. It takes, you know, it takes a community to raise a family.
For sure.
You know, as they say all the time. And I can tell you from some of these people in this room who have supported my son over the last 4 years, including Brian, because my son was an 8th grader and a freshman when he came to, you know, when I first met Brian. His son was a senior, and my son looked up to his son as well as some others in that group as well. And so it takes a community to help this program out, and without that community, we're nothing.
Well, you touched on something just a few moments ago. We're talking to Brandy McLaren, the president of the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club. A couple of things. For me, I've heard of it a couple of times. The Quarterback Club doesn't mean it's about the quarterback, by the way. I want to clear that up. It's about the whole team. And there are booster clubs with that name, and so I think it's a very unique name that helps it to stand out. And something that you touch base on that is so important is that the Quarterback Club, the Booster Club, it's not just open to parents with kids who play. It is open to the public. So there may be someone out there tonight that's watching on YouTube here in the Huntsville community. There may be someone listening on 101.7 KSAM that says, you know, I've always wanted to be part of the football program and support those kids. Talk a little bit more in depth about how that process works and how those football fans can get engaged in the community through what you guys do at the Booster Club.
Well, and they can start by coming to the meetings. As I said, we meet normally on Monday nights at 6 o'clock. We meet in the team meeting room in the field house at the high school. It's open to the public. They can get involved. We have the concession stand on Thursday. We always need volunteers to work for that. We'll have normally we have the homecoming float. We always need, you know, assistance with that. The banquet coming up at the end of the season. So it's just different things. If we decide to do anything major, the last couple of years we were able to have tailgates, you know, before a couple of football games.
I was just about to ask you about that, yeah.
And this year we're not able to do that. You know, that's kind of hard to know, especially knowing you've got one in a senior year. You can't have some of these things that we've had in the past. So that's a little hard. But normally any other time we would have that. Of course, we do have some wonderful volunteers who have helped with that in the past, cooking sausage and handing out the sausage at the tailgates, and it's always a fun time just to get everybody pepped up and ready for those, especially specific games. But this year we're going to be selling the programs. We need help doing that prior to the home game. So we welcome anybody and everybody to come join us.
And I wanted to mention, I know Brian may have a question or two for you, but I wanted to mention, you know, because of COVID, that affects tickets and sales and things like that. So anything that you can do as a community to help out and be a part, I know that would be a tremendous asset to this Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club and what they do for the kids. I'm in a way I'm excited in a little bit that there's not any tailgates because I'm always used to going down to the tailgates and eating beforehand. So I may lose a little bit of weight this year. So
Don't worry, we'd have brought you something up to the press box.
Well, we appreciate it. Brandy, I know Brian has a couple of questions for you as well. Thanks for being here tonight.
Brandy, I moved to Huntsville when I was in the 2nd grade a long time ago. And I remember in elementary school and middle school and junior high being so excited to be a Hornet. So what is the Booster Club, the quarterback club, doing in the middle schools, elementary schools, and things like that for the Hornets?
Well, in years past, we've had the Hornet Buddies. And, of course, due to COVID, that's kind of nixed that. And that's one of the things that gets the kids so excited is those little ones, even up through 6th grade, get to go down on the field and normally run out through the tunnel before the football team comes out. And usually on that last night of the last home game of the season, we let them line up along the line with the cheerleaders and the GGs, and they get to watch the boys run through. And that's something we don't get to do this year. And it's kind of heartbreaking because I'd have had a grandson that would have been able to run through with his uncle this year. But of course we've had to nix that because of COVID. It's just messed so much up. So we do what we can. We push what we can normally through that. And that's what helps gets us going. But unfortunately, this year we're not going to be able to do it.
Well, final question. I did have one other question, folks. You've talked about how they can get involved. Where can they go? What's the website? How can they connect?
We actually have a Facebook page. It's Huntsville Hornet Football. They can watch all that. We also have an email address. They can message me through the Facebook page, and we can add them to our email contact list. And we'd be happy to have anybody come out and join us. It's $25 for a family or $10 for an individual.
Awesome. I joined. It's definitely worth the investment, and you get to know more about the team, what's going on, and how you can get plugged in. So, again, look for them on Facebook at Huntsville Hornets Football. You can find out more information. Brian, any final thoughts before we wrap it up tonight, my friend?
Well, I know the job is very tough, and you're doing terrific, especially under the circumstances, like you just said. And any help anybody can give, any volunteers, please come to these meetings on Monday and be a part of, a terrific organization.
Thank you.
Awesome. Brandy, thanks so much for being here tonight. And we're going to end every show the same way, and we can agree tonight. If this works, we always had a way that I've always ended shows with a little kind of now, Coach said he didn't like too much hoorahing, but we're going to hoorah here on this show just a little bit. And on the count of 3, let's say Sting 'em Hornets. How about that as well? And let's give it up for Brandy real quick before we go. Thank you, Brandy, for being here. And on the count of 3, everybody, let's do a Sting 'em Hornets. We're looking forward. Kingwood coming up Thursday, 7 o'clock. We'll have that coverage starting at 6:30 on the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. But on the count of 3, let's sting them to a victory. 1, 2, and 3. Sting 'em Hornets! We'll see you next time, friends, as I end every broadcast, reminding you tonight we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. Good night and God bless from Huntsville, Texas. We'll see you later.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly.
New appliances mean a family recipe simmering on the stove and fresh sheets in the dryer. At the Home Depot, they also mean saving even more on your next appliance. Like a Hoover Wind Tunnel vacuum. Right now, just $119, delivered free. Bring style and function home with fall savings on your next appliance at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free standard shipping and residential delivery on most orders over $45 made at HomeDepot.com. Some exclusions apply. Valid through October 21st, U.S. only.
KSAM Huntsville, broadcasting live from the Wiesner Huntsville studios. We are your hometown radio station, playing today's best country and all your favorites. 101.7 KSAM.